Hey Jay, it's Michael. This is my submission for exercise 6.5 part 4. Let's just hop right into it. With which programming languages are you familiar and which do you prefer using and why? I would say right off the top of my head, JavaScript is the first language I ever learned, so I'm a little biased towards it. I'm comfortable with TypeScript because it's just a subset, and I'm hoping to add Python to my repertoire soon. Of course, I'm going to say things like structured query languages and HTML and CSS, although they aren't officially programming languages, they're still very much so basics for web development fundamentals. Briefly describe a project that you worked on and any challenges you faced. How did you solve these challenges? I would have to say the MyFlix client side with the React framework was something I just had issues with because I could not wrap my head around use state, use effect, and the carrying over of props to a different page. I solved these by joining React groups. I solved these by consulting Google, by consulting AI, generally things that would have a higher knowledge than I did, looking at examples and someone who could teach me more so than I could just read. How do you test and find bugs in your code? Briefly describe the process. In development, it's rather simple because the console is going to tell you when you have an error in your code. From there, something I learned from my tutor is that you should also set a goal when you're changing your code. Whereas before, I would just run through the motions and I'd say, oh, hey, something popped up when I fixed this line of code that it previously said the error was on. He's the one who showed me that no, you should have a goal in mind when changing your code instead of just going through the motions, which is a small separate facet than my previous work in factory work, which is just to go through the loops. I would also say that after you are done the developmental process, you should test your app as an end user. When I was working on the MyFlix Angular client project, I had noticed that if I liked something from the movies view, it did not properly react in the profile view and vice versa. So testing as an end user is always pertinent. In your opinion, what qualities distinguish a great full stack developer from an average one and why? I would say, and this is something I've been taught since, or something I've been told since I started learning programming, is it's someone's willingness and aptitude to look for an answer despite their lack of knowledge in it. Um, it's not what you know, it's what you can find out, essentially. And I've always been told that. I feel like a great full stack developer would be willing to dive into into a problem with an unknown answer, be able to learn from it, and also be able to give that information to others who might not know it as well. I feel like that is a lot better than just someone who just knows how to solve it, can solve it, and then that's it. I feel like it's more useful to be able to communicate your knowledge and to also make it like a everyman's code.